Hello and welcome to another session of Informal Informal. I'm back with Almas Kabir. She's the president of Bangladesh Association of Software Information Services, BASIS. He is the CEO of Metronet and several other companies. A very pivotal role that he holds in the dream that we call Digital Bangladesh. Welcome back to the show, Almas. How are you today?
Thank you. Doing well. I hope you are doing well as well.
Yep. All right, Almas, let's get started. So for the sake of our audience, once again, let me just set the stage. By a long stretch, Bangladesh is a hidden gem. A lot of people do not know the true story of Bangladesh. Still, people in the West, many of them think of Bangladesh as a flood-prone, backwater place. Some even think maybe it's a part of India. But you know what? Bangladesh has come of age. It's no longer the bottomless basket of Henry Kissinger. We have made great strides. Even during this pandemic, when the world is reeling from severe contraction, even in Asia, there are just a few countries only, with the China at one point predicted at 1.9% growth this year, Vietnam being another. Rare story, Bangladesh, is going to come out. The lowest projection is about 3.5%. Our projections is about right around 5% or so. What an amazing story. I would like for you to elaborate on, I would go from the reverse, I suppose. First, talk about the ICT parks. Where are we? Are any one of them operational? Give us a background on the ICT parks. Start with that, please.
Thank you once again. As I was mentioning earlier in the other session, that the government is in the process of building 28 high-tech parks and software technology parks all around Bangladesh. Of them, the one in Dhaka, in Karwan Bazar, it's called Janata Tower. So that has been completed, and it has been occupied by quite a number of companies. They are actually, there's no space left. The one in Kaliakoir, the Bangabandhu High Tech City, that is around 350 acre. It's a high tech park. So that is now in the process of getting populated. Most of the land has been allocated to different companies, and they are building their buildings or setting up their factories. Something, when I say factories, because many of them are actually will be making or assembling hardware, digital devices. So that is happening in Kaliakoir. One in Joshore, that is the Sheikh Hasina Software Technology Park. That is also quite occupied. I mean, there are some space left, but many of the IT companies, the BPO companies, they are operating from there. The one in Rajshahi and one in Sylhet are actually, the Rajshahi one is actually complete. It's just awaiting formal inauguration. And the Sylhet one is actually nearing completion. So these are the parks that are, ready. But there are 22, 23 other parks which are actually in the process. By the way, there's another one incubator in Chittagong that is also ready. That will be an incubation center for startups targeted towards the young students. So these are ready, and I believe that the government is very sincere about completing these parks as early as possible. There are several facilities that they are offering. If a foreign company invests in these parks, they would get a lot of tax breaks and incentives, and they can take their profit, repatriate their profit 100%, no question asked. So there are tax breaks for the company, there are tax breaks for the individual. So there are a lot of incentives. So we are expecting big foreign companies, some of the giant companies like Samsung or LG coming into Bangladesh and setting up their factories in these high-tech parks.
Almas, is there a website? Is there a place where one could go and
yes.
know exactly what incentives are available? Is there a website like that?
Yes, it's called the Bangladesh High Tech Park Authority, BHTPA. So it's bhtpa.gov.bd.
Okay.
That has all the information.
Now that's for foreign investors. What about for local investors? What specifically is the government doing for local investors to promote this area?
Okay, so for all IT companies, software and IT-enabled services companies, there is a complete tax holiday, corporate tax holiday till 2024. So that is one big incentive that the government has provided for the companies in Bangladesh, incorporated in Bangladesh. Another thing that government has introduced in the last couple of years is an export incentive. So the government would give 10% incentive in cash on whatever export amount you earn. So if you export $1,000, government will give you $100. So that is another very big incentive that we are enjoying, the industry is enjoying. Similarly, there are other facilities as basis members. There are some, like just for an example, as a citizen, you know that you can spend $12,000 per year from your travel quota. There's a credit card for all the citizens. But for basis members, there is another extra credit line that extends to 30,000 US dollar per year. With that, you can buy, software licenses or hosting services or whatever. I mean, these kind of, so there are some other facilities, especially for the IT companies and basis members.
Okay, that's just specifically for if you're a basis member, then you get.
Yeah, well, actually, all the if you do software or IT-enabled services business in Bangladesh, basis membership is mandatory. So that is the government circular. It's a gazetted circular. So it's a mandatory requirement to become a basis member.
Right. And then this is in banking services, you're saying that they get to enjoy up to $30,000 in foreign.
In addition to the travel quota.
Oh, so it's 42,000 in total.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Now that was very good, Almas. I'm glad that you mentioned some of the things as to from a foreign investor standpoint, as well as if you're a local entrepreneur, some of the areas that you can benefit from. Let me just move on very quickly, Almas. Fourth Industrial Revolution. We're in the midst of it. Everyone talks about 4IR, but you are in a catbird seat to know really more about the Fourth Industrial Revolution than most. So my questions to you would be Fourth Industrial Revolutions. Of course, they talk about a lot of different things. They talk about IoT, Internet of Things. They talk about big data. But to me, the Fourth Industrial Revolution is mostly about artificial intelligence. Now, people say robotics. Of course, robotics is driven by artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is at the center of it. And then there is a whole host of other things that basically encompasses what we call the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So my question to you now, what percentage do you think? Because like I read this one report where it said by 2030, 30% of the world workforce is going to be displaced by robots. Okay, this is one high-level report. So my question to you is, Bangladesh is a highly populous country, right? So what threats do you see as far as robots and robotics is concerned, even in our RMG? So your thoughts on that?
Okay, so there is a study by A2I. This is the project that under the ICT division, which was under Prime Minister's office earlier. So according to them, by 2025 and by 2030, anywhere from 30 to 50% of the workforce in the RMG industry will lose their jobs because of this deployment of robots. Now, the thing is that, as you were saying, that this is a very, very debatable subject that is Fourth Industrial Revolution, a boon or a bane or, so yes, of course, there will be job losses in different sectors, but there will be new jobs that will be created that we have no idea about. The World Economic Forum says that the 60% of students who are entering school now, when they will graduate and enter into the work in their career, those works are not even invented now. We do not have any idea about what kind of work that they will be joining. So new kind of jobs will be created. But having said that, let us take the RMG industry because it is the largest industry in Bangladesh. And about 4.1 million people work there. That's a huge workforce. So there will be automation, there will be robotics, and there is no stopping to that. But, and what will happen as a result? That people will lose jobs. Of course, we will take some of those workers and then we will upskill them. We will teach them how to operate those robots, operate those modern machineries, and take them back into the workforce. But we will not be able to train or upskill everybody who lost the jobs. So what will happen to those? My very specific proposal is that we have an acute shortage of healthcare workers, caregivers, nurses. So why not take those workers, RMG workers, and make them caregivers, make them healthcare workers? Because for 1,000 patients, we have one nurse in this country. So there is a huge demand for that. So this kind of reskilling, making them skilled in a totally new sector, totally new industry, that needs to happen. And for that, we need a very well thought plan by the government and well thought policy. Talking about policy, I also have a very specific proposal in adapting fourth industrial revolution in Bangladesh. As you said, that because we have so many labor force, the number of people are so many. So of course, we will be doing the upskilling, we will be reskilling them in other sectors, in other industries. But we don't want to become overwhelmed. We do not want to see that, okay, this industry, this RMG factory, the owner had just automated everything, and the next day he laid off all the workers. So to address that, my specific proposal is to adapt these automation, these fourth industrial revolution related automation in a staggered manner. Say, just for example, that if there is a policy that, okay, the factories cannot automate or replace human workers more than 25% each year. So first year, you can automate and replace 25% of your workers. Second year, another 25%. Third year, another 25%. And fourth year, 100%. Not all of a sudden, you just automate and lay off all the workers. As the experts believe, and I also believe, the net result will be a positive one. So there will be more new jobs created than job losses.
In the end, Almas, it's all about education and training. It all boils down to good
skill. It's skill
and skills training, upskilling, reskilling, you name it. It's all about, we have in my platform and otherwise, when I was with Dhaka Chamber or in my current position as with BPCCI, we have been very closely working with the Philippines to bring in some of the reskilling, upskilling, nurses training. So very, very brilliant points there, Almas. But only one reservation I have. In a free enterprise system, you cannot really mandate businesses as to, what percentage are they supposed to employ or not employ. They have to go with market forces. Almas, that's difficult, right? That's difficult, but nevertheless, a good plan. I could perhaps talk to you on a separate platform just about fourth industrial revolution. That would be a very, very good platform to talk about. As president of BASIS, what would you say to an entrepreneurial company in the software or devices business or what have you, information technology space? What would you say to them for them to join BASIS? Why should they join BASIS?
As a BASIS member, the companies can enjoy a few things. As I said, there are some credit facilities. Another very big problem of the IT industry is, it's very, very common problem is the challenge for access to finance. Because this is knowledge-based in the industry, the people, the entrepreneurs here, they really do not have any land or building to show as collateral or to put a mortgage in the bank when they go for a loan. So all they have, all their asset is in their head or in their hard disk, in their laptops. So that, and we do not have any policy to evaluate or to assess this IP, intellectual property. So we are working from basis to set a guideline on how to evaluate the IP. But until we do that, there is a big problem. So what we have done from basis, we have arranged with several banks and non-banking financial institutions that even though they do not have any tangible property, based on their membership of basis, the banks will give loans to them. And in most cases, it can range up to like anywhere from 50 lakhs to 1 crore. And there will be some grace period before they start their EMI. So we have done this with a few institutions. Also, in basis, most of our companies, by the way, we have about 1,600 companies as members so far. It's growing every day, actually. But most of these companies are young companies, relatively young companies, maybe less than 5-year-old. So, and small companies, maybe around with 15 people, 20 people, something like that. So these small companies, they need guidance, they need support. So in basis, we have created a growth ecosystem in the last 2 years. Through this growth ecosystem, what we are trying to do is we are supporting their businesses by providing them, say, HR capacity building trainings. We are giving them support through providing them free legal consultancy. We are providing them free IP rights consultancy, accounting, tax, marketing, how to package and their products and market. So all these small little support system that we have developed for our members, and through which they can, grow their business. And we have also created a mentoring system. So we have a pool of mentors with experienced, successful industry leaders. And then we have a pool of mentee, and we do the matchmaking, and it's a 3-month program. And after every 3 months, one mentor mentors 3 or 4 mentees. And again, it goes on and on in the cycle. So all these kind of facilities, the networking facilities, these are the advantage of being a basis member. So I would recommend, I would urge the entrepreneurs who are into the IT industry and the IT business, please become a basis member and take advantage of all these facilities.
In Bangladesh, the informal sector is still huge, right? Informal sector is still huge. MSMEs, micro companies, small companies, and to some extent medium. So we always talk about, companies that get benefited are the mediums and the large companies and stuff like that have established relationship with the banking industry. But what about where most of the growth is coming from? Most of the growth is coming from the micro and the small companies that, and the hundreds of thousands of freelancers that we have in Bangladesh in the IT arena, right? So in order for them to grow, what can we do? What can the government do? There are lots of talk about it, but no one seems to be doing anything about the unbanked, or the underbanked segment of the population here, especially the micro and small businesses. Any thoughts, Almas?
You're very much right. In any country, in any economy, the backbone of the economy are the SMEs or the SMEs, or now they call it the CMSMEs, the cottage, micro, and SMEs. Right. So yes, of course, they have to be included in our the banking system. In the last few months, the digital financial services has done wonders. And many people who are actually not using the mobile financial services or other digital financial services, they have started using it. So that is one encouraging matter. Secondly is, I really think that you cannot mandate all those very micro, small, one-man company, the entrepreneurs who are doing business from home through e-commerce, through Facebook commerce. You see there are like hundreds and hundreds, actually thousands of Facebook pages. And people are selling their handicrafts, they're selling pickles, they're selling honey, all these things. And very interestingly, the housewives are doing this, many housewives from rural area, and they are becoming economically established, independent through this F-commerce. How to bring them into the formal sector? Of course, if they go to bank, they would ask for a trade license, and they won't be able to provide trade license for that because they are doing business very informally from their home. So one proposal is that I have made in several occasions, also to government officials, that we can find an alternative to trade licenses for these cottage and micro industries. We can have a registration system, a central registration system, where they will go and register themselves online maybe and get a registration. That is from wherever they are, and that will work as an alternate to a trade license. And with that registration, they should be able to go to a bank, and bank will also then recognize that, okay, this business is a registered MSME, something like that. So this, as an alternative to trade license, maybe this can be done, and that is how we can formalize. And that will also provide confidence in the mind of the consumers. Because when, as a consumer, I see on a Facebook page that this seller or this business is a registered business, then I will have confidence that I will know that, okay, if something goes wrong, I can always complain it to the registration authority. So that will also boost the confidence in the consumer, and actually the business will grow. So I think this is another way to bring them in a formal sector.
Almas, in talking to you, you can see that there is just so many areas to talk about, so many areas that we can talk about a little bit more in depth and come up with the policy reform ideas for the government alongside the businesses to perhaps look into and implement. With those words, Almas, I'm afraid we're out of time again. I cannot thank you enough. I know you're a busy person for your time. It was indeed wonderful. Your ideas are very much to the point, and we need to, many of these ideas, we need to explore further. I'd like to thank our audience for joining us. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in our next session. Bye-bye now.